Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our afternoon edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars live feed spoilers. We have been mentioning that this is a chaotic week, and in the aftermath of the veto, the decisions that have to be made, chaos is continuing, and we have a sense as to what some of at least the plans are going to be for certain players today.
There's going to be a lot of talking today, and there has been already a lot of people trying to maybe get Davon not to use this veto. It is getting very tense.
Very. And for those of you who are wondering, I know that the next Big Brother Beyond Tonight is going to be on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. There has not been any evidence on the feeds that they're doing the veto ceremony today. I haven't heard any discussion about it. So for now, we're still assuming they're going to do it tomorrow and it's going to be a rush editing job for Tuesday, but we'll wait and see on some of that. But
we'll let you know as soon as we know something.
Yeah, of course. And if you guys do enjoy this video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more, and support us further by checking those links to the store and our Patreon. We have a number of different benefits there we're checking out.
So Davon has the veto, and
Yes.
it really is causing Danny specifically a lot of problems and a lot of stress. And while Davon does want to use it, she does want to save Kevin, and Danny understands it to some degree, but now she's trying to find what is going to be the best way for her to get through this, because she does want Tyler out, but she doesn't necessarily want to be the one that makes sure that he gets out. Like, I think if it comes down to some sort of a tie, I don't think she's going to be able to really kick him out.
It's tough. Like, I want to believe that she will, and I see her flip-flopping, but I kind of have the same feeling, because I feel like we all remember Big Move Danny from season 13. He was very, very aggressive and went after some of the other returnees and all that sort of stuff. I think she is very afraid of becoming that person this time and sort of putting a target on herself too early, and I think her whole idea is, let's try to get the blood on everybody else's hands, because I'm already getting all sorts of blood on my hands by having to nominate like 1 billion people this week.
This season in general is the safest season that I think we've seen in a long time, where nobody wants to make any big moves. Everybody's afraid of coming on this show and looking like a bad game player or making bad moves and having everybody talk about it. So now nobody's doing anything. Remember Big Talk Enzo a couple weeks ago? Throw Ian on the block. No one would have been upset about that move. It's not a bad move. You didn't even really entertain it. And now we're in this spot where things are getting really, really messy for Danny. I think she was talking about the Tyler thing, but didn't think she was actually going to have to do it, because she had Kevin and David. And then David came and went, and then she decided to pull the trigger on Tyler. But is she really ready for this? I don't know.
All of it, I think, is so contingent on a number of different things. Obviously, the first one is this veto going to be used? What happens with the numbers either way? Because earlier, we talked a lot about Ian being the potential replacement nominee at the moment, and it feels like Danny's not really seriously entertaining a lot of other options right now. Unfortunately, I wish that she would, but it doesn't seem like, unless someone actually goes to her and is like, I volunteer to go on the block, which I don't think a lot of people are willing to do at this point. Christmas has already done it once. I don't think she's going to do it again, and she has that power anyway.
No, she's definitely not going to do that and help send Tyler home anyways.
Yeah, like that's not going to happen. So this is the position that Danny is in. But the crazy thing about this is we've had a lot of boring unanimous votes, or votes that are pretty much unanimous, and hinky votes are being thrown out there. This, if it is Ian versus Tyler, this is a Big Brother Clash of the Titans. We could have a legitimate split vote. And where this gets complicated is that Nicole may be a valuable number for the committee, the Blob Alliance. They gotta keep the Blob together if they want to get Ian out. But Nicole, I don't think she's about that life of getting rid of Ian at this point.
She is not going to get rid of Ian. She has said that she is not going to cast her vote against Ian. And, you know, part of it is probably because of what happened with Memphis and her and Danny laughing. And then it sounds like someone from production kind of talked to them about it. She does not want to be the person who laughed at everything that was going on with Ian and then cast a vote. She has already tried to do strange damage control with him, where she's kind of not really saying she's sorry. He doesn't know what happened still, but still trying to be like, I'm a good friend to you. Your friendship means more to me than anything. So she is not going to vote Ian out of this game, which is them putting Danny in a strange spot, because she's basically saying if there's a tie and she has to be the tiebreaker, she's like, possibly, maybe I'll vote out Ian. But she doesn't want to do it either.
This is why it feels like there is so much potential for this entire Blob Alliance to be de-blobbed this week, because, I'm not saying there's a full-on conflict with Danny and Nicole at the moment, but I think there's still a little bit of tension there, because I think Danny wants Nicole to be the person who votes Ian out of the game if this situation happens, and Nicole doesn't want to do it. At least the thing that the two of them sort of agree on, this is the operation today. We have to get Davon to not use this veto under any circumstance. Let's try to find a way to make it happen.
They would have to offer her a really sweet deal and be very convincing of it and actually then come through with it. Because if they don't, and Devon's on the jury and either one of them are at the end, they're not getting her vote. This is a really tricky situation here that they have to finesse in just the right way, so that Devon knows that not only is she going to be safe moving forward, maybe she has a couple of things that they're able to offer her. If she's going to give up Kevin, she has to be giving up Kevin for a lot.
I don't know if she's going to believe any of the offers that would even potentially come her way. I mean, Danny and Nicole talked a little bit about, okay, can we just make Devon sort of feel like she could be the number one target moving forward if she decides to go ahead and use the veto? But that, I don't think Devon...
It's a terrible plan.
Yeah, that doesn't respond well to fear, I don't think. And I don't think that's necessarily going to work. Plus, we know that that's not really even true with Danny. I mean, sure, I think Cody was probably laying it on a little bit thick. And when we talked about him kind of mentioning that Devon could stick around a little bit later, I don't know if Cody really wants to keep Devon that long. But I think Danny would, regardless of if the veto is played or not at this point. So they got to come up with something very, very, very specific and make her feel like Kevin has a good chance of staying.
Yeah, and if they can't convince her that Kevin's going to stay and that Kevin is actually going to go, there has to be a really sweet deal on that table for her to let him go. I just don't think that they can convince her that Kevin is going to stay. They would have to find a way to actually make Kevin stay.
They would need a incredible foolproof plan, and it's just sort of hard when you think about all the specific votes. Like, yeah, Davon would support Kevin, David may support Kevin. Is there a way you could sort of convince Nicole or whatever else, or Ian, and then you would have a tiebreak? It's all a lot of numbers of people who haven't really worked together. It would be like we're going to say, hey, let's go form a band and let's get the band to go and perform together. And none of us have ever performed, actually even in a practice together before.
Yeah, it's like going over to our neighbor's house and being like, let's have a band. And we talked to him once before. Yeah,
it's probably not going to sound great.
Probably not. But it is probably their best shot Danny wants to get out Tyler. If she really wants to just go ahead with this, her and Nicole have to find a way to, if they're going to convince Davon not to use the veto and to keep Kevin up there, they have to take the shot at Tyler.
One of the interesting wrinkles, I think, in a lot of this right now is Tyler has basically mentioned around a couple of people as of late, and Christmas is when it spread some of this around, that if he gets voted out this week, he ain't going to jury. He's out. He's just going to say, well, I'll see you guys later. I will have them take whatever money from me that they need to take, and I'm just going to go, which irritates me, really. I like Tyler, but I don't want Tyler's legacy on Big Brother to be besmirched by him just sort of piecing out on the game, because I thought he was one of the best players to never win, and I don't want this to define him.
Sure, Jan, you're not going to be not going to jury and you're just going to drop your money to go home. You've had multiple opportunities to just go home, self-evict, get Christmas to put you up. He could have done, he's been talking about leaving for weeks. And it feels like the thing that's keeping him there is the fact that he is earning money at a time where, a lot of us are out of work. People are out of work.
Yeah.
And it's harder out there right now to be able to do anything to earn money. So I just don't believe for a second that he's gonna not go to jury and give up whatever money he's been given to be there. It's just not gonna happen.
But I think there are some players who are thinking that maybe this will be something that drives a wedge between Christmas and Tyler to some extent. Like Nicole's like talking about, okay, can I flip Christmas over so that if he does go up, Christmas can be a vote to evict Tyler instead? It's like, Tyler, Christmas has already stood by a lot of nonsense with Tyler so far, and I don't think Christmas is going to walk back on that at this point.
No, Christmas, of all the things that Christmas is that I'm not a fan of,
Yeah.
she is very loyal, and she's not going to just turn on Tyler now. She can be irritated by the way that he's acting, and I'm sure she probably is, but she's not going to all of a sudden flip on him. That doesn't help her at all.
All of this is what makes this week so interesting. Like, I don't want Ian up on that block. I love Ian. I don't want to think about Ian going, but it is sort of like you've got Nicole wanting to flip over Christmas, and you've got Cody who's like thinking he can go and get David and try to make sure that Ian goes, because these people within the Blob Alliance, they are not on the same page when it comes to who potentially should be going at this point.
No, they really aren't, and they're just not getting themselves together. And I think it's just, they have to understand that they just aren't on the same page. This alliance is not really, it's being held together by like some tape and some bubble gum at this point. There's just, nobody really wants the same things anymore. It's two smaller blobs.
Somebody needs to just go up to that bubble gum and just go boop, and then it's over. It is
Yep.
popped. Well, we'll wrap this video up unless you guys want a lengthy discussion about Enzo claiming he's not going to curse for the next 24 hours too.
Sure, Jan.
There you go. There's the other sure Jan I was looking for. But what do you guys think is going to happen today with all of this campaigning? Do you think Davon can be convinced? What offer would you give her? Let us know your suggestions in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us further. Check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.